the children that I feel bad for, is they don't get opinions. You know, they're kids. They don't get opinions. It's sad. That's what's sad to me. The adults, you had a chance to get out. You decided to stay for some weird-ass fucking religious cause. So you're no different than, you know, the people of Jonestown or wherever else. I just don't understand that mentality. I know that sounds callous, but Jesus Christ, fucking have a mind of your own. I don't understand why so many people want to be led so badly. You know what I mean? Like, think for yourself. Quit trying to be, you know, sheep. And that's literally what they're trying to be. Like, they want him to be the shepherd and they're the sheep. I just don't get that mentality. Is it laziness? Is it, you know, I don't get it. It's weird. And, you know, these people weren't all stupid. Like, they were Harvard graduates in this thing. So I just don't get it. It's so weird.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I mean, it is. And I think it boils down to, we can't really say why they did it, but they believed what they were doing was the right thing. I've never felt so strongly about something that I felt like I could be led into doing something like that, you know. So I guess it's just, maybe Koresh was compelling on some level. He obviously was.
Oh, he was charismatic. I'll give him that.
Sure. Well,
just
so
like
Charlie
Marshall Applewhite.
So were all these other people.
Manson.
They were charismatic people.
Yeah. Yep.
But you know, it just, the whole thing just, it stinks. It's rotten from the ground up. And I mean, all those people had to bury their kids, and all those other people, and they should have. Koresh, he started wrong, like getting arrested, and then he goes in there and gets with the woman, the wife of the one who took over, and then died, and then she dies, and then he gets into a gunfight with her kid, and then her kid ends up dead. So he was already on the FBI's watch list. He was already in the system. They knew there was something, and he started out bad. I mean, the whole thing started out bad. Seems like when he came into those people's lives in 1981, that it was just all downhill from here, you know, from that moment.
That's so wild. So wild. I mean, the whole thing just...
very rarely is it's something that's so much so that you and I and Vic, all we can do is just be like we are now, speechless, really. I mean, even though we've been talking, nothing we say can come close to what we're feeling about it and how conflicted it all is. I think that's a good word for this, conflicted, because that's what it is. It's like, who's to blame? So many different sides. Koresh is to blame. And Janet Reno admitted that they botched that, whole situation, that whole solution that she had, and her team had devised on ending this. The whole thing was wrong. From the start, it was bad. On every portion of it, every part of it, it was bad. And it was a hopeless situation, and I hate that, because those kids all suffered. They never got to grow up and live their own lives. They went down in pools of blood and hot flame and gunfire. That's no place for a child to be. I feel most sorry for the children. And so
how could you not? I mean, it's not their fault. Their parents are fuck-ups.
That I don't know what the families were, I can't speak to that, but how they felt after realizing they sent their kids off to die, essentially, is what it turned out to be. I know that's not what they intended, but think about that. Think about waking up and having to deal with the anguish and the guilt that they felt. And that situation, it stigmatized the whole town. Waco will forever be known as that. It still is. It still has been. For 26 years, that's what Waco has been. You go to all these other places, and Texas, all these other places, and you get Tombstone, you get all this other stuff, and you get all these other places, and Waco. And that's all you can say. That's all you can say, Waco, and that's all you have to say, because everyone goes back to that moment and realizes that they basically watched in the span of 51 days, almost 100 people, including a large majority of children, perish for no reason whatsoever. Just an explained loss of life for no reason. There was no gain for those kids losing their lives. No gain for the people that lost their lives either. Nobody won in that situation. And whatever power David Koresh had over those people is frightening. Because, like you said, I would hate to see what would have happened if they wouldn't have come in on them. Like you said, what would those weapons have been used for? What would have happened? What would have been the next big movement for the Branch Davidians? Would they have made the news some other way? Would it have been another
they talk about the apocalypse. They would have tried to make the apocalypse, if you ask me. You know what I mean? Like, that's what essentially what these groups end up trying to do. They make these predictions about the apocalypse, and then when they don't come true, they try to make it happen themselves. That's what
not how
I think.
it works. As a believer in what I believe in, and I can't speak to anybody else's belief, if there's going to be an apocalypse and there's going to be an end of the world, Jesus Christ, the God, God in heaven already knows when it's going to be, how it's going to happen, and what the result's going to be. You can't perpetuate it's going to happen in His time. It doesn't happen in our time. That's just my belief.
This is a guy who believed in having 140 wives. So, I mean, consider the source. That's all I'm saying.
Well, right. I understand it, but I mean, just think about it. I mean, you can't. I think David Koresh thought maybe he was God on some level, but
I think he started believing his own bullshit is what it really is. You know what I mean? You say things enough, eventually you might believe it. That's kind of what I think.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree with that statement on a lot of levels. I mean, people believe, what is it, the old X-Files thing? Trust no one, believe I, deny everything, resist or serve. That whole stigma, it speaks moments like this, and even science fiction wise, go to the board. Resistance is futile. It's
very true.
It's coming for everyone. Whether you try to perpetuate it or whether it just happens at its own time, you can't choose, like that for something that's supposed to be a religious thing like the end of the world. I mean, I've heard several people say that the angels in heaven don't even know when the apocalypse is going to happen. So what makes a regular Joe nobody on earth think they know any different?
Well, that shit is going on in our state right now. Vic and I will talk about that shortly. Vic, let me get your thoughts on this whole thing, man. You haven't had much to say yet. You've just been kind of listening in, doing your Vic thing. Give me some thoughts on I guess, final thoughts on Koresh and Waco, man.
There's not really much to say. I mean, the whole thing, like I said, it was just so real to me, and I do think Koresh was shot by whoever. The FBI killed everybody, and I don't know. But I kind of wish I was there for it. Is that bad?
Just to see it? I mean, I get you. It's one of those things.
I got
I've talked about.
I don't know, man. It's, the whole thing is crazy about it, just thinking about it to this day. And now, but every time I think about Waco, I think about our good buddy Jerry, who lives in Waco, North Carolina.
Yeah. Good point. We all know Jerry.
Well, no, man.
All right, man.
Yeah, that's the I killed everybody. That's what I'm going with.
Fair enough. Sad that they killed the kids then, but, glad that they killed Koresh. I'll say that, if they did. Fuck him. So, it's, I mentioned this earlier. We've kind of touched on it. Vic, talk about our last week or so here in the good old state of Kentucky.
over the last week and a half, I think we've had about, between Louisville and E-Town, probably about 2 shootings, a couple stabbings, a few stolen cars, a couple cops getting shot, a couple people getting shot by cops. And it's not just one area. We had some guy shoot another guy in the Olive Garden because his 3-year-old daughter bumped into the table. Like,
by the way, that seems to be verified too. So I don't know what the fuck Corey's talking about. He's full of shit.
We know what Corey's talking about.
Well, he's being racist. I know that, but it's kind of dumb to be racist when it's a Mexican who was killed.
Yeah, I mean, it's verified on multiple reports, and I mean, the dude. Why do you have to have a gun when you go out to eat?
That's a good point.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what made you think you had to have a gun to go to the Olive Garden? And why are you shooting people over a little girl bumping your table?
Jesus Christ. And like you can't tell me you feared for your life in the moment.
And I mean, apparently, he was yelling all kinds of racist stuff at the guy, like, you don't belong here, go back to where you came from.
And, white people are always getting blamed for shit. That dude was black, just for the record. We're not the only ones that are racist assholes sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like, the whole thing's crazy, man. And I don't know what's going on in E-Town tonight, but, I mean, there's cops over here shooting people, and there's a big crime scene, meth labs exploding or something. Like, something. And I blame all the Louisville violence on them tearing down the projects.
It's just coming on down.
Before they tore all the projects down, it was all in one area. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Now everybody is just migrated out into the entire city. So now they're, like J-Town's looking like Chicago right now.
It's fucking nuts, dude. Blake, it's wild, dude. It's crazy.
No.
Like, that Olive Garden shooting was right by Vic's work. Right by his work and not far from my house. So, I don't understand.
Yeah, like, I don't blame your brother for getting out of town, man. I don't blame him for moving out of the city.
Dude, we are Chicago Junior at this point. We really are.
Wow. Ray,
we're trying to be.
Ray knows. Ray crushes his city constantly for good reason. He knows how stupid his city's becoming. I love seeing him rip too, because they're fucking losing their minds there.
Man, we've talked to him about Louisville before. He sees how Louisville's getting too, man. Like, it's horrible.
Did you see him, and I shared this on our page, he was talking about this mayor that's running there that believes that cops should just be armed witnesses. I was like, what?
What?
Yeah, they should be armed witnesses. Meaning they don't do anything, they're just witnesses.
Lord, I mean, because Chicago's not bad enough.
Yeah. Oh, fucking, I give up. Major cities in this country, L.A., New York, Chicago. For some reason, Louisville wants to be one of those. I don't get it. Blake, I don't blame you for living in bumfuck Nashville, buddy. At least it's safe, I think.
Well, Nashville does have its own problems. I mean,
Nashville.
There's traffic, crime, expensive places to live. There's a meme going around I've seen on Facebook. It's this shack, and it says $250,000 a year with like a $9,000 deposit. This is Nashville, and it's like some shack. It looks like something that Jason Voorhees would live in Friday the 13th Part 2. And that's accurate. It's just places to live, even the places that are run down, are just extremely expensive. And there's too many people in a place, and the traffic is just, oh my God, it's ridiculous. I mean, I've been there, but, traffic's never as bad there.
So next month, like literally 30 days from today, on March 26th or 31 day, whatever the fuck it is, we mentioned this guy earlier. Would you guys like to talk about Heaven's Gate?
Sure.